Hey guys, have a fun activity for you today. It kind of really reinforces the importance of making a good selection, reinforces masking, and you have to decide a few things. So I think it's a really good activity to reinforce those things. So let's go ahead and open up Photoshop. And once you do, I'm going to open up a couple files. The first one I'm going to open up is the house right here. So let's go ahead and open up house. And the second one I'm going to open up is the skyline right there. So we have the skyline, we have the house. We're going to need to make selections in both of these pictures. So the first one I want you to work with is house. So once we have the house right there, let's go ahead and unlock the background layer. All right, and we're going to select the sky. So let's use color range to select the blue sky. So select and color range. And I've already done this a couple times, so you can see it's gone through and selected the sky for me. So I'm going to bump my fuzziness up. Let's see what's a good number. I'm at 75 right now. I think that's a good number. So I've got a lot of the blue as shown right there. Let's go ahead and hit our plus eyedropper and start selecting these areas up there to include more of the sky. And it's fine if it picks up some of the water because we're going to mask that away as well. So let's hit OK. And right now, with that fuzziness setting of 75, this is what I'm left with. And we want the house to be visible. So let's go ahead and I'm going to make some small adjustments before I mask it away because I can see there's part of the house there. This selected, I don't want selected. So let me get my quick selection tool right there with the minus brush. And once I have the minus brush, I'm going to bump up the size just a little bit and take away that part of the selection. Same thing in there as well, this area. So I'm cleaning that up because I don't want that to be included. All right, that looks pretty good for my purposes right now, so I'm going to invert the selections. So select, inverse. Now the house is what's chosen. Let's mask it away. And this is what we're left with, all right? So I have the detail of the top part of the house, the tree, the flagpole. That all looks good. Now I want to get rid of, I'm going to leave the tree line. Okay, so the tree line's fine. I'm going to get rid of the water. So let's go ahead with your quick selection tool, hit the plus button, and let's go through there with your quick selection tool. And let's just do a little bit at a time, okay? So select a little bit at a time. Those of you, we've all used this tool before, you'll notice that you'll have to go back and forth with the add to button there or the negative brush right there because I don't want the rock selected. So let me zoom in and scroll down. So I don't want these rocks selected, so I'm going to hit the minus button right there and kind of clean up the edge a little bit better. Let's flip that around. I don't want it to kind of go down like that too much. A little bit's fine, and you'll see why in just a little bit. All right, so I'm going to take away this part of the selection because I want the rocks to remain. Okay, that looks good there right now for and you just want to leave yourself a good selection here. So that's fine. Let me zoom out. All right, so that's good right there. I'm going to look over this way just a little bit. That's pretty good right there. I might have to clean it up just a little bit. So let's go ahead and get our paint bucket. And for whatever reason, I don't know if Adobe made an update to Creative Cloud, but my paint bucket keeps disappearing and some of the other tools do as well. So rather than fight with it anymore, because they're making changes, just go to your search button right there. Go to the search button and type in paint bucket. Type in paint bucket and that tool will come up if you select it. And you'll see the paint buckets right there, so now I can use it. And with black is your foreground color, let's just dump paint on the mask right here. It will hide those pixels. And hit Command and D to deselect it. So I got the shoreline pretty good right there, that's what I wanted. Same thing over here. So now I'm simply going to grab my brush, a solid black brush, so let's go solid, make sure opacity is 100%. and I'm just going to hide these pixels on the mask because the mask is selected, so I'm just hiding these pixels right now. All right, so I want to get rid of the water. Oops, didn't want to get rid of that shoreline. You want to maintain the shoreline right there the best you can, the trees anyway. All right, the area that we're going to have difficulties right over here with this dock. So let me reduce the brush size. We're only going to save that part of the dock. We're going to hide what's right here, okay guys? So make your brush small enough that you can go in there and just hide these pixels right there. The best you can do it. Okay, that's about as good as I'm going to get that right now, unless I really want to spend a lot of time with it, and I don't. And let's go on this side and clean that up a little bit. Okay, we're actually going to replace the water with more of a turquoise color in just a second. So that's what I have right now. Let me go ahead, and I think that looks good. And since it looks good, I want to bring it over to a new document, but I need to create that document. So let's go to File and New. And we want to make this 11 inches wide, 15 inches tall, and hit Create. And it doesn't have to be a blue background, so let's unlock it, reset my foreground color, and I want it to be a white background, so I want to throw paint on it. So let me find my paint bucket again because it keeps disappearing. Alright, so I got it. It's right there, and I can dump white paint on it. That's what I want. Alright, so with a white background, I'm going to grab my house over there, get the Move tool, and I'm going to move this thing all the way over to our new document, right? So I have a picture of the house, and that's exactly what I want. So the house is right there. Let's open the picture of the skyline. So it's already open. Let's just select that tab. Alright, so let's unlock it, and we need to make a selection with this as well. So we need to select the sky up there. So I'm guessing the probably best way to do it is quick selection tool and start making, with the plus button, start selecting part of the sky. Alright, so I just drug it over there. It got some of the buildings, but it messed up over here. So I'm going to have to toggle back and forth with the minus button to take away the buildings in this selection, okay? So just go through, and you'll have to go back and forth with this. I know it gets a little frustrating at times, but it's part of the deal when you're working with this software, because I'm not going to make you guys go through the pen tool and try to make it perfect. Okay, we did that with the boy and the holiday scene, and the pen tool did a good job here, but it would take a long time for this activity. So add to this just a little bit, one click. And varying the brush size makes a big difference with this tool. So, varying the size of the quick selection tool makes a big difference in how it performs. So play around with that just a little bit, and that's good enough right there. I'm not going to make it perfect. If your brush is too small, it's not going to do a good job getting the big parts of the building. So if it's too big, it's not going to do a good job getting the small parts of the building. So you got to make that determination as you're doing it. See, mine is giving me fits over on this building, and I don't know why. It should be easy for it to pick up the contrast that exists. Yeah, that's better. Alright, I think that's probably good enough. So let me Command minus to zoom out. Alright, so I want the buildings to show, not the sky, so I need to flip my selection. So select, inverse, and now simply mask it away. So I've masked away the sky. This is what I'm left with. Let's go ahead and bring this over to our new document right there. So get your Move tool, drag this over to the new one right there, and we've got the skyline. So we're going to flip this vertically. So go Edit, Transform, and flip vertical right there, and let's pull it down, okay? And we're also going to size this down as well. So hold Shift on the keyboard to maintain the aspect ratio, and we're going to size this down. And basically, we just want the skyline to be under their pictures of the house, okay? So make sure it matches up the best it can and hit OK. And now we're gonna drop that below the other picture on the layer panel. So we have a picture of a skyline, all right, upside down underneath the house, okay? So I guess this can imply multiple meanings from artistic standpoint, but let's zoom in just a little bit. Okay, so we want to make sure that nothing in the bottom, none of this is showing, okay? So I'm going to, I need to make sure my edges line up first before I start erasing anything. So I'm going to bring this in just like that. And now on this mask, right, I'm going to commit the transformation, uncheck this. Now on this mask, okay, well, name it, let's call it skyline. Skyline, okay, and we'll call this one house. So we know what we're dealing with. All right, so on the skyline mask right there, get your paintbrush, black paintbrush, and you're going to get rid of anything up here that's showing through, okay? Same thing on this side, anything on that mask, whoops, too much. Anything on that mask is showing through. So I'm probably going to soften this corner up just a little bit. So let me soften my brush right there. And now I can just soften that edge up just a little bit. Probably do the same, probably do the same thing on this mask as well, just to soften that in. Okay, just to blend that together. And got to do the same thing on this corner right here. So let me just soften that edge up just a little bit. Okay, that looks good. All right, so I'm left with this image now. I have these two. Now, I'm going to bring in, let me just group these items right now. So I'm going to hold shift with my left hand. All right, so the house and the sky are selected. And let's go to our layer menu button right there and choose new group from layers. And we'll call this house and skyline. House and skyline, okay? So they're now grouped as one. And let's go ahead and hide them, because now we want to open the picture of the, actually you can leave it showing. Let's open the picture of the light bulb. So let's go to File, Open, and we've got a picture of a light bulb, right? All right, so we want to isolate this light bulb. So let's unlock the background layer. I'm going to use probably my magic wand tool right here. And tolerance of 35 may be the right setting. Let me try. All right, 35 works perfect. So if you have tolerance of 35 and you hit the white around the light bulb, it looks good. So the white's selected. Let's flip that. So select, inverse, and we're going to mask it away. So now the light bulb is masked away. And let's go ahead and apply that layer mask. So let's right click it and choose Apply Layer Mask right there. It makes it one image. And now let's get rid of what's in the middle right there. So let's go search for our patch tool. So hit your search button right here. Let's call patch tool. And select patch tool. And you'll see that's what's selected. Now we're going to go through the patch tool and get rid of the inside of this. So if I make my selection right there and move this direction, it should start replacing what's there with the pixels I moved to. And you're going to have issues with it not doing perfect the first time, but keep doing it and you should get what you want. That's good enough. I'm not going to fuss over it, and I don't want you to either. So let's go ahead and bring this light bulb. So we have a picture of the light bulb. Let's bring this over to our new document. All right, and then we're going to rotate it clockwise 90 degrees. So Edit, transform, let's go to rotate. And if we do that right here, your angle value, if you put 90 in there and hit enter, it's going to rotate at 90 degrees, and that's exactly what we wanted. All right, so we rotate at 90 degrees, and let's pull this thing below the house and skyline layer, okay? So now we have the image of this house and the skyline, and we want to line this up within the light bulb, okay? So let's size this with a transform control tool. So I hold shift with my left hand, and I'm grabbing the corner sizing handle, and I'm just bringing this down just a little bit. I'll position it over here, and I'm going to stretch it out just a little bit because I want that shoreline right there to stretch the edge of the bulb. Okay, so that's kind of what I wanted. And show transform controls, and let me just zoom in just a little bit. All right, so I've got the picture of the house with the skyline in there, and it looks good, right? Now I have this edge is popping up there and the tree right there. Well, let me show you a little trick so you don't waste a lot of time. So if I go to and I'm gonna hide this layer so you're not distracted. So if I go to my bulb layer, and I gotta call it bulb. All right, so if I hide everything, I notice this is on a transparent background. Because of that, if I just get my quick selection tool right there with my add to button and a big enough brush size on the quick selection tool, I can paint over this whole bulb, and it only selects the perimeter, the outside of the bulb. Now, if I go to my house and sky layer, I can see, let's see, was it going to allow me to, just trying to decide if I want to do something. Yeah, let's do it this way. Hit Command D to deselect it. Let's go to right click your house and sky layer, and let's go to, let's choose convert to smart object right there. All right, so we converted our house and skyline to a smart object, and now let's go back to our bulb layer, and I'll hide this so you see what I'm doing with my quick selection tool, and I select the bulb, and it selects the outside of the bulb. Now I should be able to go back to my house and sky layer now that it's a smart object and hit this mask button because I have the selection. I've applied the selection from the bulb to this one, so if I hit my mask button, you can see it utilizes that selected area and applies a mask to this layer. So that's exactly what I wanted. So that's an easy way so you're not with your paintbrush or whatever selection method trying to get that perfect. So right there is what I have now. All right, so let's go ahead and bring the picture of the water. So file, let's just go place embedded, and I want the water. And I'm going to zoom out so I can see what's going on. So I've got the water. Let's drop this below that layer so I can kind of see how it's below the bulb as well. All right, so I can kind of see my water. So let me go ahead and now resize the water. And that probably looks good. I need to make sure it covers the bottom part of the bulb and the top part, and that looks good. Let me commit my transformation, and now I'm going to do the same thing I did with this mask up here. So let me hide this. Let me hide the water for now. Grab your quick selection tool, make sure the bulb layer is active, and let's go ahead and select the bulb. Okay, we've made that selection again. This time, let's hide the bulb, and on our water layer right there, we have this area selected and the water position kind of how we wanted it. So let's hit the mask button again, and you can see it uses that selected shape to apply this mask. So I have that. Let me show my bulb. Let me show that right there. And this time I'm going to move my water above the bulb. All right. So it's above the bulb. I'm going to reduce the opacity down because I need to only have the water in this area right here. Okay. And when it's in this area, I've got the mask. Let me get my brush, a black paintbrush. Let me go a hard round brush first with 100% opacity. Bump the size up just a little bit. and I'm going to get rid of this edge right there, right? So there's my water applied to the bulb. I'm also going to get rid of the water right there, so let me do this. So now there's no water up top. Okay. All right, so I'm left with that. That looks pretty good. Let's throw a couple of sharks in the water just for good measure. So let's go to File, Open. Actually, let's go File, Place Embedded. So File, Place Embedded, and shark. Move it up the top of the layer panel so we see what we're dealing with. And I got my shark. Okay, so I have my shark. It's a smart object, so let's convert that to a normal bitmap layer. So let's go right click it and go to rasterize layer right there. So we're going to rasterize the layer of the shark. It makes it a normal layer. And let's use our Magic Wand tool. 35 should work fine to select the outside of this shark. And let's flip our selection. So select inverse. So the shark is now selected, and let's mask it away now. So I now have this shark, and let's just apply the layer mask as well. So right click it, apply layer mask. So now my shark, I'm going to resize it. My shark, down there, and I'm probably going to reduce the opacity just a little bit to make him look a little more realistic like he's in the water. So I reduced the opacity there. And let's put another one over here facing the other direction. So let's just duplicate what's there. Right click the shark layer, choose duplicate layer. Shark copy is fine. And we're going to go take this shark copy and we are going to flip it. So edit, transform. Let's flip it horizontally. He's facing that direction. And let's go ahead and let me see one thing here. Where is below? Let's put the shark copy below the house and skyline layer. So right there. All right, so we have that shark is now behind those buildings. And because he appears to be farther back, let's make the shark smaller as well. So show transform controls. And let's size it down quite a bit. Just put him back there. All right, now uncheck it. All right, so we have a picture of the house, the skyline underneath it. Don't like how this edge looks good over here. I don't like how this edge looks. Let me go to my house and skyline layer right there with my paintbrush, black on it. I'm gonna have to go to a soft round brush. I'm gonna soften that up just a little bit. I just don't like how it looks. Okay, that looks like it blends a little bit better. Okay, I like that better. All right, so let me go zoom out just a little bit. All right, that looks pretty good. Let's group everything that's there. So I'm gonna select the top layer, hold shift, select the bulb layer, it selects that range, and we'll put it in a layer group. So layer menu button right there, and new group from layers, and we'll call it complete bulb. Okay, so now I have complete bulb. I can move it around as one. Let's show our background right there. So I have a white background, and let's go ahead and duplicate what's here. So I'm going to right click that layer, choose duplicate layer, and bulb copy is fine. I'm going to go right there, and we want to make a reflection of itself. So let's go ahead and go to transform this, edit, transform, and let's go flip vertical. All right, so you've got a copy of itself, and let's reduce the opacity way down in the second version. So actually, before I do, let me move this over just a little bit. And same thing with this one. That looks better. All right, that's what I want. Now, on the copied version down here, let's drop the opacity to, let's try 25%. Okay, 25% looks, maybe let's try 30. Okay, 30 is better. All right, so we have 30. Let's go ahead and take our original bulb, move it up just a little bit. And the bottom one, that looks good. All right, so we have that. Let's go ahead and create some shadows, and there's multiple ways you can do this. Let's add a layer. or we can just go to, yeah, let's add a layer, it gives us more control. So we're adding a layer. Let's go ahead and get your elliptical marquee tool. And I'm not seeing mine because whatever update they did with Creative Cloud, they're making things disappear. So let's go to our search button right there. Choose elliptical marquee tool right there. So now we have our elliptical marquee tool. We're going to give it a feather of 10 just to kind of soften it up just a little bit. And then I want you to just kind of make an elliptical selection right there. So we've made an elliptical selection on our own layer. Let's throw black as color, and let's just, with our paint bucket that disappeared, so let's go paint bucket. And we're going to dump black paint in there, okay? So we dump black paint in there. We're going to hit Command D to deselect it. And let's, on this layer, we'll call it shadow. Let's drop the opacity of our shadow as well. So as we drop the opacity of the shadow down just a little bit, you can see what we have. And I can reposition that where I want to because it's on its own layer. All right, so I have that, and if I wanted to create more of a shadow there, I could. Probably the best way to do it now is with your brush. So get your brush, black brush, let's take our opacity down. Let's try like 9% to start with. Let's do a little bit more. Go in there and try to tinker with this just a little bit to get it how you want it. But those are a couple ways you can create a shadow. So that's it, guys. I'm not going to make you take it to the next level and put it in a template today. I just wanted to bring you to this spot. So I hope you had fun. Take care.